Wow. What a night in Austin, Texas. The fans got a treat really from start to finish in what was one of, if not the best, UFC fight night cards in the history of the organization. And the night finished with a knockout victory for Arman Tsarukyan, where he extended his win streak to three, will now solidify himself in the top five of the lightweight rankings come Tuesday morning. What a performance, and what does it mean? Well, it means that he has arrived. Arman Tsarukyan has been on a lot of fight fans' radars for a long, long time, and he does have two losses in the UFC. One was a debut when he was 22 years old against the current lightweight champion of the world, Islam Makhachev, and the other came back in June of last year in a headlining spot against Matos Gamrot, a razor thin decision loss that could have went either way, back and forth, one of the best fights of 2022, especially if you want to just dig into high level mixed martial arts. But ever since then, he's rallied off three in a row, and he's looked so good in each of them. The only moment that he's not looked perfect, essentially, was when Joaquim Silva dropped him and gave him a scare in their fight. That was a short notice fight, of course, that Arman got with Silva, and he ended up getting a finish at the end of the day, anyways, and kind of put a stamp on it, and it made people forget that he did get dropped and wobbled in that fight. Now he gets the biggest win of his career against Beneil Dariush, the number 4 ranked lightweight in the world, someone who had tallied off 8 straight wins at one point, has since lost to Charles Oliveira and now Arman in 2023. A very, very hard pill to swallow for all Beneil Dariush fans out there, and a lot of us are just that, because the guy did everything in his power to earn the shot at a championship fight and never got it. And after these two losses, it's very hard to say he will ever get this close again. But we shall see. Time will tell. But the night belonged to the 27-year-old Arman Tsarukyan. He calls for a title fight in his next fight. And I told you all on Friday that if he were to get a big win here, don't laugh at that idea. Don't just go and throw it by the wayside, because it is very possible, because of a point I already mentioned, a rematch years in the making with the champion Islam Makhachev. That's a fight that I want to see so badly in 2024. Again, I don't know the circumstances. It seems pretty clear that Charles Oliveira is going to get his rematch first with Islam Makhachev, and at the earliest that fight would happen is April. And that's if we're, getting generous, the UFC, and if they can make all of those wheels turn fast enough. So we're gonna find out if that truly is the fight to make. And if they don't do Oliveira versus Makhachev, please, please, please run back Tsarukyan and Makhachev too. That is, it doesn't get much better than that for lightweight division right now. I know Arman doesn't have the name that Charles Oliveira does, but I think he poses a better, more intriguing threat to the current champion Islam than what Oliveira does, the former lightweight champion. And that could be crazy. Some people may think that is ludicrous to think, but just go look at the tape, man. Arman Tsarukyan is as perfect as it can be in all aspects of the game. He is just so well rounded, great fight IQ, and is just now edging into his prime years. Where Oliveira, yes, he's gotten so good. Everybody loves Do Bronx. He's dangerous on the feet, as he showed in the past couple of years. His jiu-jitsu is world class, but we've already seen him lose to Islam in very convincing fashion. Why would we want to see that ran back when Islam and Armand fought to a very close decision, when they were both still so young and have only grown leaps and bounds since that first fight? I may be in the minority that would prefer to see Tsarukyan versus Makhachev, but let me know if you agree with me. But I think it's safe to say that in 2024, Arman Tsarukyan will be fighting, at least at the minimum, a number one contender fight. You could argue that this already was that, but if they do decide to go with Oliveira and Makhachev too, I could see Arman getting a fight with maybe someone like Justin Gaethje, for a matter of fact, the other guy that is kind of on the outside looking in, and then everything, all the wheels would just be churning at 155 pounds. Let me know what you think about this main event. What did this performance say to you about the future and potential of Arman Tsarukyan? And do you want to see him get the next title shot, or would you prefer him to fight someone like Gaethje while we get Oliveira and Makachev too in the meantime? Let me know in the comments. And this video will not just cover the main event like the preview did. We're going to discuss the main card and the three other huge fights that had very big implications to go along with the main event between Arman and Beneil. We next go, well, we don't go anywhere because we stay in the lightweight division, but it goes to number 12 ranked Jalin Turner knocking out number 13 ranked Bobby Green on 10 days notice. I believe it was November 22nd when they announced that he had accepted this fight. Jalin Turner posted a picture today. This is Sunday when I'm recording this, that he weighed 180 pounds when he accepted this fight, made the weight to 156, cut 24 pounds in 10 days, and then knocks out Bobby Green in less than 3 minutes. And let's get this out of the way first and foremost. The stoppage was pretty damn bad. The ref should really have to answer for these types of things when they happen like this, whether it's a super early stoppage or in this case, a super late stoppage. There was about a 12-second gap where Bobby continued to succumb to strikes when he shouldn't have. The fight should have been stopped, and thus Jalin not only, it would have been a TKO victory, instead got a knockout victory because the ref did not stop this until Bobby Green was out flat on his face on the canvas. That was very hard to watch. I hope that Bobby does not suffer consequences from this. I hope that he is okay. He seemed to be in good spirits and kind of, in his wits, talking to Jalin in the cage, talked to him backstage. They shared a moment together that the UFC posted. So I hope all the best for Bobby Green. Take some time to recover, and I'm sure we'll see him again in 2024 in another fan-friendly fight. Jalin Turner gets rid of the 2-fight losing streak that he was on, the 2-fight split decision losing streak, where he could have came into this fight on a 7-fight win streak, instead came in on a 2-fight losing streak. To Dan Hooker, to Matos Gamrot, again, could have went either way in both of those fights. He showed just how good he continues to be. 28 years old, 14-7. I said it on Friday. He's the best 13-7 fighter in the world. Now he's the best 14-7 fighter in the world. I truthfully think that Jalin Turner's ceiling is a UFC title around his waist. I think he can climb that high through the ranks. You don't see people that are as well-rounded as Jalin, first and foremost, with power, precision, technique on the feet, has great grappling, takedown defense, takedown offense. Cardio is really the only thing that we've seen be a little suspect, and it showed in the Dan Hooker fight. But outside of that, he doesn't have that many flaws that we've gotten to see or that have been exposed thus far in the UFC, as he's only gotten better throughout the years at such a young age. So you factor all of that in, all of the skills, to the physical abilities that he has, where he is 6'3", tied for the tallest lightweight in the division. I think with Joel Alvarez, I could be wrong. He has a 77-inch reach. He was 6 inches longer than Bobby Green last night. I don't even know how he makes 155 pounds. If he's walking around at 180, I guess you could say he's not that big of a welterweight. He would only have to cut 10 to be at 170. But I think in the future we see him there eventually throughout his career, maybe in his early to mid 30s, he will transition there when he doesn't want to cut weight anymore. But right now at 155, he is a threat to everyone ranked 11 through champion and Islam Makhachev. Now, I'm not saying you put him right in against Islam right now and he wins, but at this rate that he is going, in about a year or two, as we head into 2025, after all of next year rolls around, Jalin Turner can be, and dare I say, he will be in the title mix. The long-awaited bantamweight debut of former flyweight 2-time champion Deiveson Figueiredo went down at UFC Austin, and he got a victory over the number 8 ranked 135-pounder Rob Font. That is Deiveson Figueiredo's first fight against someone not named Brandon Moreno, and first victory against someone not named Brandon Moreno since November 21st of 2020. And I must say, it feels so good and so fresh to see Deiveson at a new weight class, starting a new chapter of his career. What is he now? 35. So right on the end of those prime years, but maybe moving up 10 pounds can solidify him a little bit more longevity in the best year kind of category chapter of his career. 22 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. The dude is just so dangerous. He showed that his power still carries from 125 pounds to 135 pounds. Wobbled Ramfont one or two times in this fight, looked very strong. He had, I think, 4 takedowns, which is a career best of his. Everything that he had at flyweight seems to, in one fight at least, transitioned well up a weight class to bantamweight, and it is just so exciting to think of some matchups that could come next. This was a perfect kind of welcome, in my opinion, for Deiveson to have at the bantamweight division. And now you look ahead. Song Yadong fights next week against Chris Gutierrez. That's number 7. Marlon Vera at number 6 is about to fight Sean O'Malley in March. You look right there, though, 2 through 5. Sign me up for any one of those matchups. Marab, Henry, Corey, and Peter Yan, any of which matched up with Deiveson is such a good fight, and all have so many different kind of aspects in terms of the technical, in-depth X's and O's of the fight to look forward to. Any one of those guys next, and should Deiveson get a win, he'll find himself on the brink of a title shot just through 2 wins at his new weight class. And then we had Sean Brady getting a comeback victory, improving his win, or his record, I should say, to 16-1 after a submission win over Kelvin Gastelum in a fight that Brady dominated. Kelvin Gastelum was returning to welterweight for the first time in over 6 years. And, it's still the weight class I think he should fight in. I just think his body belongs at 170, but it did not belong in there against Sean Brady last night. Brady looked like a dog that was on a mission to right the wrongs of his loss last year against Bilal Muhammad. He got takedowns at will, dominated control time, and then when he wanted, got the Kimura submission early on in round number 3. That is only Brady's 8th or 8th or 9th, if I'm not mistaken, finish of his career through 16 victories. So he has a good mixture, about half and half finishes and decisions, but it shows that he does have, great additions and wrinkles to his game since his last win, which came 2 years ago now against Michael Chiesa. He had a few groin injuries that he had to get through. I believe they said 2 times he tore his groin over the last couple of years, which would hint toward the inactivity that we've seen, because prior to, November of 2021, he was very active, and I hope that we can see more of that for him heading into the new year. And he made it clear what he wants to happen next. He wants the winner of Luque and Ian Gary, and more so it sounds like he really wants Ian Gary. So I think Brady's going to selfishly be rooting for Machado Gary to beat Vicente Luque on December 16th, solely for the fact that he wants to be the one to smash their boy, Ian Machado Gary. So stay tuned. We'll be talking about Sean Brady again potentially here in 2 weeks, whether Gary wins or if Luque wins, because Luque versus Brady is also very, very fun. That's the biggest hitters from the main card at UFC Austin. So many great fights, so many great victories, so many big takeaways with so many ranked fighters putting everything on the line Saturday night. Let me know your biggest takeaways, your biggest performances. Who do you think is next for the 4 big winners in Arman Tsarukyan, Deiveson Figueiredo, Jalin Turner, and Sean Brady? List them in the comments below who you think each should fight next. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new so you never miss fight recaps, fight breakdowns, MMA news, and fight announcements. And I will see you this upcoming weekend, because the fights keep churning, at least for 2 more weeks in the UFC, as we have a fight night at the Apex headlined by Song Yadong and Chris Gutierrez. I'll catch you guys there.